in that demonstration. With me is Peter Vincent. He's a former attorney for US Immigration and Border Control. Peter, thanks very much for coming in. It is not the first time, of course, that tear gas has been used on this border. It was used back in 2014 as well. How tense is the situation on the border now, and is the response from US border authorities the appropriate one to the situation?
The situation is quite tense, Katty, and you have thousands of people who are waiting in a sort of state of limbo. Individuals in some cases that have walked with their children thousands of miles from the so-called triangle countries in the northern part of Central America, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. And they are attempting to rightfully, under U.S. law and international treaty, international law, apply for asylum in the United States. These are, for the most part, incredibly sympathetic people that are fleeing horrific gang violence in that Northern Triangle region, or are looking for better opportunities for their children, for educationally or financially. And the situation has been made worse by President Trump's November 8th declaration or proclamation requiring that all individuals that are applying for asylum do so at an official port of entry. That, again, is in complete contradiction to U.S. law and our international obligations, which allow individuals, however they enter the United States, either lawfully or through other than lawful means, to apply for asylum once they are in the United States.
And the reason for this is that the security situation of the people who are applying for asylum in Mexico at the moment is not good, and therefore they ought to be able to come into the United States and apply from a situation that is more safe. So what is the security situation? If you are one of these 7,000 odd people and you're camping out in this stadium, what are the risks that you face at the moment?
Katty, it's less than ideal. These individuals are in a sovereign territory of Mexico where they are not particularly popular. The mayor of Tijuana has made some remarks about not really wanting or being able to appropriately clothe, feed, and take care of these individuals. So there's a great deal of hostility with the Mexican nationals along the northern border of Mexico. So the tension is very acute. Again, these are individuals who ordinarily would simply make their way into the United States, either through a port of entry or through some alternative means, raise their hand and say to the Border Patrol officers present, we are simply applying for asylum, and then they would be appropriately processed in that particular manner. But now they are queued up at the border, waiting in these facilities that are not entirely accommodating, and many of them expect to wait many weeks before they're able to actually make a formal application for asylum in the United States to start the process.
It seems to me, Peter, looking from this side, from Europe, that the problems are pretty much the same on either side of the Atlantic. You there have got genuine asylum seekers and refugees that need help mixed up with a lot of economic migrants that the government wants to keep out. And one of the ways that the European governments have looked to tackle that here is to set up these disembarkation platforms outside the borders of Europe where genuine asylum seekers can be processed. So is that going to be the norm, and how does that conflict with international law?
Christian, you make an excellent point. There are some similarities here. The various organizations in the United States have challenged President Trump's declaration, and a federal district court judge in San Francisco has found that Trump's proclamation is in violation of law. The U.S. has a similar system to the one that you're discussing, but it's called refugee processing, which is done overseas, away from the United States, and there is a process for doing that as well. Those individuals are usually located, in some cases, literally for generations, in refugee camps in different parts of the world, Southeast Asia, North Africa, etc. I think there will be negotiations between the Northern Triangle countries, Mexico and the United States, to figure out some safe alternative method of processing their valid legal claims, while at the same time essentially weeding out individuals who are, unfortunately for them, but not eligible for either refugee status or asylum status, because they are, as you point out, Christian, economic refugees and not facing persecution or torture.
Okay. Peter Vincent, thank you very much for joining me here in Washington. Clearly the issue, Christian, it looks like, as you